Get ready to hear some noise tonight. You're just seconds away from Let's Go Blues Radio.
No doubt about it, eh? You're listening to Curt, Bill, and Jeff on Let's Go Blues Radio, the original St. Louis Blues hockey fan podcast. Take it away, boys.
Come on, St. Louis hockey fans, stand up and cheer. The Blues are back strong. This is our year. It's the Blues' turn now.
I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Yeah, it's the Blues' turn now. With that Al McKinnon slap shot, you know we can't lose. We are St. Louis, the home of the Blues. Come on, St. Louis. Let's go Blues. Come on, St. Louis. Come on, St. Louis.
Let's do that hockey.
Come on, St. Louis. All over the hockey universe, the note is the news. Everybody's digging on the St. Louis Blues.
Welcome to Season 7, Episode 45 of Let's Go Blues Radio. We're broadcasting live on, what is it? What is tonight? It's Monday, April 22nd, 2019. This is franchise episode number 178 all time. Your hosts tonight are yours truly, Curt Price, Bill Day, and Jeff Ponder. And we'll be with you for the next little while talking St. Louis Blues playoff hockey and their successful first round matchup against the Winnipeg Jets and what they have to look forward to in the next round. To interact with us on social media, follow the show on Twitter at LGB Radio, at Curt Price is mine, at Billy Blue Notes is Bill's, and at JPonder94 is Jeff's. Follow us on Instagram, like us on Facebook, and the website is letsgoblues.com, where you can listen to past episodes, browse the discussion forum, as well as get some cool shirts, mugs, and stickers that you cannot find anywhere else. Hey, guys.
Hey there.
Hey.
What are we going to talk about tonight?
I don't know. How about playoff brackets or maybe the Cardinals are playing tonight?
My God, we cannot talk about playoff brackets. Mine is destroyed.
Yeah, everybody outside of the one rare fan who lives in Columbus and also happens to be a fan of the Colorado Avalanche are busted.
Let me pull mine up here.
Yeah, I mean, who would have guessed it? I mean, I called that Calgary was ripe for the pickings. That's who I wanted in the first round, but I didn't think Colorado was going to knock them out like they did. I mean, after that first game, Colorado made them look foolish.
Yeah, I guess what Bill made, Bill made a comment about goaltending, but I don't think Mike Smith played that bad. He was just
he played fine.
He was attacked. He was under siege.
Yes, Smitty surprisingly wasn't the issue. You know, most of the series I think has been defined by goaltending, not that one. You know, I just think Colorado's offense was just super dominant. Nathan McKinnon, Mikko Rantanen were just insane.
I know Dallas and Nashville are on intermission right now, right? But they're not on. Are they on NBC Sports Network right now?
They're CNBC tonight.
Well, I'm watching through the app.
Yeah.
NBC Sports app.
Ah, that's why.
Yeah. I was too, but I figured out I can't mute the game, so it's distracting.
Let's say I keep watching highlights of the Washington game. I'm like, there's another game on right now. What the hell?
I have Calgary and St. Louis in the conference finals, and I have Tampa Bay and Washington in the conference finals in the East. And so I've got two of my final four gone.
I got Tampa and Pittsburgh in the East, and I've got St. Louis and San Jose, which that one's not looking terrible. But when San Jose was down 3-1, it sure was.
Yeah. Wow. That was a good game last night. That was a really good overtime.
Yeah, it was. Man, what a heartbreaker for the Knights.
No kidding.
To lose in double overtime, shorthanded.
I know. And it's now they know how the Kings feel when Steen scored. Especially when they had that shot that was going in with the two Knights players, they dove, and I don't know how it was kept out. They collided at the goal line and the puck squirts free. It was strange. Crazy.
I like Bob Rakowski in our YouTube chat. People who pick their brackets because they like the jerseys better are golden this year.
No kidding.
Excellent point. Yeah. I mean, really, at this point, I did a football pick'em every week a couple years ago, and somebody's mom had joined, one of my buddy's moms, and she knew nothing about football, nothing. She picked it by mascots. She won. She won the whole damn thing.
If you're picking Columbus over Tampa Bay because you think they have a better jersey, you have bad taste in jerseys too. Because I think Tampa Bay's jersey is pretty fantastic since they did the redesign a few years ago.
Maybe they like the Civil War. Maybe Ken Hitchcock would have picked the Blue Jackets because he's a big Civil War buff.
Maybe. Official beers of episode 178.
Let's go nuts. Let's go nuts here. Curt, why don't you start?
Oh, we're gonna start off with not okay. Well, we can only go up from here. I didn't have a lot in my fridge because of Easter. I took some stuff over to my parents' house and I kind of forgot my cooler there. So I have the good old Bud Light Orange from my fridge. I thought about breaking open a Madagascar or a Bourbon County or something to celebrate the first round series, but I did not do that. So Bud Light Orange. It's a St. Louis beer, so we'll drinking local tonight.
What's funny is that I'm actually picked a beer that not our typical fancy beer, as some people have said. I'm going with a little PBR tonight. And there's a reason behind that. The first time that I went to a Blues game of age, 21, to celebrate my first game, being able to drink in the stadium. Yes, because this is a St. Louis thing to do. On the way to the stadium, I drank a PBR. So I thought, what better way to celebrate the Blues' first round victory than go back to where it all started?
I thought you'd have put out a hams or something.
No.
All right, Bill. It's like, okay, this is like a scramble in golf where Ponder and I have shanked, and you got to get one in the fairway, Bill.
I gotta lace one down the middle.
Yeah.
So I am I'm going with a real beauty, American Beauty Pale Ale from Dogfish Head Brewery. Every year, Dogfish Head puts out a beer to coincide with Record Store Day, and this year Record Store Day was a week ago Saturday, and
that's correct.
So I went out, picked up some records in the morning, and on the way home stopped by Friar Tuck, picked up a 6-pack of American Beauty, and have one or two left, and so that's what I'm going with tonight. It is a classic American pale ale that they had retired but brought it back. It is a tribute to the Grateful Dead, and it's a nice hoppy, not overly hoppy, not nothing crazy. I'd say it's right down the middle of the fairway. Maybe not a long hit, but it's in the middle of the fairway tonight.
Bill coming through in the clutch. He is the Jaden Schwartz of Let's Go Blues Radio.
Tice Talk said in the YouTube chat, Schwartz has just as many airports as Winnipeg.
Nice.
That's gold, Jerry. Gold. That's pretty good. Today in Blues history, courtesy of the at STL Blues History Twitter account, April 22nd, 2019 is today's date. So 1997, April 22nd, 1997, Grant Fuhr recorded his 5th career playoff shutout in a 4-0 win versus the Detroit Red Wings. This game featured a brawl at the end of the game. Fuhr even skated down the ice and got involved a bit. 1992, Brett Hull scored a goal in double overtime on Dominik Hasek in a 5-4 win versus the Chicago Blackhawks. Hull had 4 points, a goal and 3 assists, and Nelson Emerson scored 2 goals.
You know what's funny, real quick? We always joke about Blackhawks fans and how they weren't fans before 2010. I have a friend who actually is like he got big into him about 2003, which I'm like, okay, that was if you can become a Blackhawks fan at that point, I'm fine with that. You've put in your dues.
The Tyler Arneson era.
Yeah, Tyler Arneson, Eric Daze, Keith Carney.
Speaking of Eric Daze, it's amazing that you brought that up. I just picked out a jersey tonight, and this is Eric Daze's junior hockey team.
Wow.
Look at that.
Yeah, the Beauport Harfangs. Didn't buy it for Daze. I bought it for Marty Biron.
It's man, it is not going to come more full circle than that. Go ahead and close the show up, Curt.
That was quick.
But no, so I was talking to a friend and I mentioned something about we were talking about greatest goalies in Blackhawks history. Obviously Ed Belfour comes to mind and amongst the guys in the 60s and 70s. But then I jokingly said Dominik Hasek, and he was like, "Oh, that's funny. That guy didn't even play for them." And I go, "Actually, he did." And he's like, "Nuh-uh." And I made him look it up. And he was like, "Oh, wow." And I'm like, "Oh, you really are like Blackhawks fans. You don't know your team's history."
Know your history. How long? He's been a fan for how long? Since 03?
Yeah, 03.
Oh, man. See, he's had 16 years. He should know history now. That's been long enough.
Yeah. Oh, this was probably 5 years ago, but still.
11 years. I mean, you've been
you should know that one of the greatest goalies in the NHL played for your team.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, it's not some also ran.
If for nothing else, all the replays of the one game he got in against Pittsburgh in '92 in the final, and he stoned Lemieux and made some of those crazy standing on his shoulders type saves. So yeah, that's NHL lore. Shame on him.
Today's date in 1990, Sergio Momesso set a Blues playoff record for fastest goal at the start of the game, 18 seconds into the game. And Gino Cavallini scored the latest game-winning Blues playoff goal with 9 seconds left in a Blues 5-4 win versus the Chicago Blackhawks on April 22nd, 1990.
What's interesting about that is that Gino Cavallini did not fall over the blue line. Instead, he scored a goal.
Gino Cavallini was a fan favorite. How dare you?
I like Gino.
He was serviceable.
Yeah, just not a strong skater.
Yeah. To be fair, in that era, there weren't you didn't have to be a strong skater to be a good player necessarily. In 1965, today's date, 1965, the late Peter Zezel, who had 2 stints with the Blues, would have turned 54 today. Born in the state in Toronto, Ontario. That's in Canada. And to honor Mr. Zezel, we've got his character from Youngblood, the jersey that I own, Rossini, number 12, from Youngblood. That's Zezel. Zezel played him in the movie, so there you go. That's why it's hanging up behind me. Happy birthday, Mr. Zezel.
Yeah, everyone was always a big fan of Zezel when he was here.
He was. He played. I don't know how many times I heard comments from broadcast guys when his play on the boards, where it was hey, he played soccer growing up, so he's good with his feet. Heard that a number of times, so many times.
Yeah, play on the boards, and he was an excellent face-off guy because of it. He was one of the first guys to really, come along and attempt to always kick the puck.
Tie the stick up, kick it with your feet, kick it with a skate. Let's see. I mean, we could talk about the first round, I guess. Round one, Blues and Jets. This is also from STL Blues history. The Blues have won 28 playoff series in their history. This one, the one against the Jets, the one the Blues just won on Saturday. This was only the 4th playoff series they won when a Blues defenseman did not score a goal. They did this in this year versus Winnipeg, 2012 versus San Jose, 1970 versus Minnesota, and 69 versus Philadelphia. So, and it's interesting because the Blues led the league in goals from defensemen this year, and they did not get a goal in the playoffs so far.
Yeah,
you got to think they will.
It dates back 10 games. because the last 4 games of the regular season they didn't either.
Yeah, I mean it really looked like Winnipeg choked off the points for the most part, and the Blues defense they weren't shooting the puck all that often.
No,
I can think of 2 shots that the Blues defenseman took, and they were both by Parayko. One of them broke Nikolai Ehlers' leg.
Oh my Lord!
The other one, unfortunately, did break Blake Wheeler's leg.
Yeah, and that makes sense that they would try and stifle that, because that was a strong suit for the Blues this season. So I mean, shut down the Blues scoring from the blue line, and we'll be in pretty good shape. And then Schwartz happened.
They really did. I mean, they were pinching up at those points like crazy. The Blues, there was the best they could do was just kind of keep it in the zone. I mean, there was multiple times that I remember, Pietrangelo or Parayko or Bouwmeester or any of those guys getting the puck at the point, and they got a guy rushing on them right away. And it's, if you don't get rid of that puck, you're possibly seeing a turnover and then an odd man rush the other way. So, yeah, I mean, every time the Blues got the puck at the point, they were just dumping it back behind the net because that's the only play they had.
And to be honest, the first good portion of the series, first half of the series at least, the Blues didn't have a lot of extended ozone time pressure. They didn't have a lot of sustained pressure in the offensive zone to where they could have a number of chances where they could pass it back to the point and get a shot off. They didn't have a ton of those chances. So that may have played into it too, where they just didn't have as many opportunities to even go there.
That's true.
So Game 5 was in Winnipeg. So we talked. Our last show was after Game 4. So we were a bit down after being up 2 games and then having the Jets come back and win the next 2 in our building. So it was back to Winnipeg for Game 5. And then Lowry scores 12 seconds into this game, where the Jets won the draw, dumped the puck in the Blues end, in the corner. And this, both Bouwmeester and Dunn, I don't know if you guys noticed this, inexplicably go in, not just behind the end red line, they both went into the corner. Both defensemen go into the corner, which is like, it's first off, it's hockey 101. Both your D-men aren't supposed to go behind the end red lines, if at all possible. And for God's sakes, don't go into the same corner. My God, what the hell are you doing? So they battle for the puck against Cobb in the corner, and then Tanev slides in, grabs a loose puck, throws it towards the net from the corner. And I think Tanev knew exactly what he was doing. He knew that our D was out of position, and he knew that they had a guy in front. He throws it on net, like a lot of players do nowadays. They throw that bad angle shot on net to get a rebound. And Binnington made the save, and the rebound goes right to Lowry in the slot, who was basically all alone. O'Reilly, I mean, he was there. He probably should have picked him up because what else is he going to do there? And then he just had a slammed it by Binnington on the blocker side post. But
it was just a breakdown. I mean, you mentioned with the defenseman, that was the big play for me. It's funny because going into this game, I was saying to my wife before the game started, I said, man, they have got to come out strong. If they don't come out strong, they're screwed, because Winnipeg is coming into this game. The arena is going to be rocking. They've got all the momentum in the series. And all of a sudden, 12 seconds in, boom, they're up 1-0. And it just, the Blues look like, and I hate using this cliche, but they look like they weren't ready for the game to start. I mean, they were all over the ice. They didn't read that well. Bouwmeester and Dunn, and I had mentioned, I think after Game 4, I thought Jay Bouwmeester has looked awful, and Dunn hasn't looked much better. So then this starts, and it's, oh my God, here we go again. It was just they looked out of sync completely.
In Games 3 and 4, I mean, most of the series, the defense's own coverage was a problem. We talked about this. We talked about how guys were being left all alone in the slot. Line A especially had a number of chances. Line A, Wheeler, Scheifele, they're just not picking up guys. And I think I tweeted this even. Like, this should have been stressed a lot about defense's own coverage. Okay, we're tied 2-2 now. We're going to Winnipeg. We're going to concentrate a little bit more on defensive zone coverage. And what do they fucking do 12 seconds into the game? They completely blow coverage and assignments in their own end. They couldn't wait to just screw it up, which just pissed me off. I mean, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's so for Bouwmeester and Dunn to be the starting pairing, that was, an answer to the fact that Winnipeg was starting their third line. So it wasn't like they were out there against the Scheifele line. But I think part of it has to be the, Dunn playing on his offside and playing with Bouwmeester. They didn't pair up a whole lot. I think for the most part, whenever it was Dunn on his offside, it was with Edmondson down the stretch. So it was a bit of an odd combination. And yeah, they just really blew coverage, like you said, just awful start.
I was just, I was like, what? It was just, I don't know. I'm a loss for words almost at it, because it's just so stupid. I don't know. It didn't make any sense. And Hayes makes it 2-0 as he beat Edmondson wide and cut in front. And I had a huge problem with Dunn in this game early on. He beats Edmondson wide. Okay, fine. Okay, Edmondson got beat. But then Dunn is standing in the slot as Hayes cuts in front, and Dunn does nothing. Dunn doesn't even reach for him, doesn't even try and get a whack on a stick, poke the puck away, nothing. And Barbashev is behind Dunn, covering a man. Who was he? He was covering with someone. And Barbashev made more of a defensive play on Hayes than Dunn did, and Dunn just watched him go by. And I'm like, okay, I'm not. I criticize coaches in the past for benching players for making one stupid mistake, but all of a sudden Dunn's on and he kind of botched 2 plays and it's got 2 goals. Now I'm not blaming Edmondson too much, because Edmondson's hustling, is trying. If you get beat, you get beat when you're trying. He got beat wide, okay, but Dunn just wasn't doing anything. A lot of people, a lot of fans will say, wrongly, might I add, too often you hear, oh man, they're not trying out there. The effort's not there. No, the effort's there almost every time people say that when they're trying to be critical of the team when they're not playing well. The effort's there. The execution's not there. It's a difference. But this here, Dunn just did. He was caught watching. That's the best explanation I got for that. He was just caught watching, and it was 2-0 Jets.
Yeah, again, maybe a function of him playing on his offside. But at that point, the 3 of the last 4 goals in the series were Jets offensemen blowing by a defender at the blue line and forcing a play to the net. That's the I think Wheeler did it. Scheifele did it. Scheifele did it on the game winner in Game 4, the overtime winner by Connor. But just not there. He mentally checked out for a couple of periods, it seemed like, for Mr. Dunn.
We had mentioned last week the heat map of the shots and the goals for both teams, and that trend continued in this game. I mean, the Blues didn't have a ton of chances in the first, but every shot was from the outside. You look at where Winnipeg got their 2 goals this period, and then really, I mean, we'll talk about the next chance that Kevin Hayes got in the second period, but that was another one that they should have scored, and he was literally right there on top of the crease. So, I mean, they've got a game plan. They've stuck to it, and at this point, the Blues just were not responding. They were not picking up the guys they need to pick up. Like Curt said, they're watching the play and not executing. I agree with you on effort. I think that's crap. I think that's just a go-to easy analysis.
It's lazy.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Anyone who's played the game, have you ever gone out there and not tried? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, especially at that level, this level, you're the guys are out there hustling. You can tell when a player is trying and when he's not, and the effort's almost always there. It's just
almost always.
Yeah. It's this. I mean, there's players that float and there are players that play their game, but they're not playing their game much differently than they always do. You know what I mean? It's just they're all of a sudden not trying. That's absurd.
Yeah, but no, it's again, this is the game plan of the Jets is to force plays in the middle and have their big guns where they need to be. I mean, again, we talked about it last week that the big guys are scoring for the Jets at this point. Not obviously Adam Lowry is a fourth line guy, but they've got an excellent fourth line there in Winnipeg. And then Kevin Hayes, just a deadline acquisition that they wanted to bring in the depth, and he's doing the right thing. So at this point, 2-0, and you're saying, and again, 2 goals right in front of Binnington, and it's just, oh my God, they're just going to keep shoving it down the Blues' throats. I mean, it was looking pretty grim at this point.
I believe you may have even given up.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, there was a certain J Ponder 94 on Twitter that had basically said that this team, it was what we talked about last week. If the Blues lose in the first round, is it still a successful season? And I kind of just reiterated what I said, that no, it's not, because we had expectations coming into the year, and if they don't meet those and they lose in the first round, I don't care how they got there. So, yeah, at this point, I was negative. I had kind of accepted defeat. And, boy, I've never been happier to be wrong.
I think everybody was pretty negative. You just blew a 2-0 series lead by losing 2 games at home, and you're down 2-0, playing poorly in Winnipeg. And we've seen 2 previous series this decade where we had 2-0 leads and blew them.
Yep.
Losing 4 straight, both times. So it was pretty. Social media was in a panic, I think. The Winnipeg crowd was chanting, "You look nervous." That was embarrassing.
That was hilarious, though.
Yeah, it was good. No, it was good. It was good. I mean, it was embarrassing for Blues fans. Like, oh my God, we can't say anything because I just losing. In the second period, Hayes almost had his second of the game, but stopped his own shot. This was big. This was so huge.
It's where the series turned.
Yeah. Left all alone in front of Binnington again. And he redirected a pass through Binnington's legs. But, credit Parayko, I guess, because when Parayko checks him and because he tries to reach around Binnington and hit it in because it was going in anyway. The puck was going. It had enough momentum to get across the line anyway. Don't know if Binnington was going to was going to swing around and knock it out before it went in. Doubtful. But he reaches a stick around and Parayko checks him, and his stick kind of just he ends up hitting the puck away from the goal line, as opposed to in the goal, which was hilarious.
Well, everyone listening to the show, probably most likely you're not getting your Blues news from us. You know what happened,
right?
So it's fair for me to say that's a play that I think Hayes is going to watch all summer. I mean, not saying he's going to watch it on repeat, but he's going to see it and say, "Oh God," But really, I mean, this happens. I mean, like you said, it wasn't like he just had a wide open net and then just pulled his stick the wrong way. No. I mean, I know that's how it looks.
No, Parayko hit him. It just kind of he went. I mean, Parayko hits you, and you're going down, and your stick does goofy stuff.
You're doing whatever you can to, like, 1, stay on your skates, and 2, just poke at the puck and hope you can get it in the net. I mean, people who've played the game have had situations like this happen before, where maybe you're taking a shot and somebody lifts your stick at the last second and it goes 5 feet wide. Whatever. It happens, but yeah, I mean, for Kevin Hayes, that's something he's going to be thinking about for a long time. He's got a long summer to think about that.
Yeah, right up until the time he gets paid by whoever's going to sign him in the offseason. UFA problems.
Late in the second period, Hayes had a chance at another goal as he was sent in on a breakaway, but Binnington made the sprawling save as Hayes just flat out waited too long to shoot. Ran out of room. Ran out of real estate, as they say.
Go ahead.
I would, and well, you're gonna say about the leg, the scissor come together leg save by Binnington. That
well, I was just gonna say, man, and I am not wanting to come on here and bitch about Jake Allen. There's no reason to, but I will say it sure is nice to have a goalie that when there's a breakaway, there's at least a 50-50 chance that he's going to make the save. And not only make the save, but look good and not just get his body in front of it. Look positional and do the right thing. Because like you said, Hayes runs out of room. There's a reason. It's not like he just like kept skating and all of a sudden I'm behind the net. I mean, Jordan Binnington stayed with him, and that's why he didn't have the room to get a good shot on, because he's looking up saying, okay, he's going to have a hole eventually. He's going to have a hole. Never got a hole. And so that was just that. I love that. That's what I love about seeing Jordan Binnington in net.
Yeah, he stayed with him and he slid, but he didn't overslide. He didn't slide back to where he was himself halfway in the net. That one of the keys on that play was the fact that he was able to scissor his legs together. If he's closer to the net, man, that could be really problematic.
Yeah.
He could kick it in easily.
Yeah. And like you said, he stayed with him, and he didn't have an open net to shoot at when he made a move. He had to try and elevate the puck over his pad. It was in too close, and he actually shot it when he was behind the red line, and it went under his near pad, and then his left pad made the save. Luckily, he didn't put it in his net though when he put his legs together.
There's still a chance that in 5 years we're going to be looking back at Jordan Binnington and saying, man, that guy was great. Why couldn't he figure it out and stay in the NHL longer? There's always a chance of that. But I will say that it is so nice, again, just having a goalie back there that plays a positional game, that we're like, okay, he's going to do everything he can to make sure there's not a hole for a guy to put the puck on an odd man rush or a breakaway. Whereas, again, Jake Allen, there's about 7 holes in him when you're coming in on a breakaway. It's just nice to see.
It's a confidence in Binnington that we haven't had in Allen since the first round in Minnesota when he was playing out of his mind. I had that confidence in Allen then during that series. But it's like you said, it's nice to just have confidence in a goalie that he's going to stop what he should and a few that he shouldn't. And and even if he does allow a goal or maybe even a bad goal, it's not going to matter to him. And he's going to stay, he's going to maintain and play good hockey, consistent hockey. He doesn't let stuff get to him, which for a while I was like, okay, early on in his stint when he first started playing the season, people were like, oh man, he's so stoic. He's so calm and he doesn't get rattled. I'm like, okay, well, let's give him some opportunities to get rattled. Let's a number of them first to make sure that's actually a trend with him. I'll be damned. He just does not get rattled. That first goal in game 5 when they scored was it 12? What was it? Yeah, the first goal. That could have rattled a bunch of goalies. Ended up 2-0. The crowd going ballistic in Winnipeg. That could have rattled a whole bunch of goalies.
And the fact that you had just lost 2 games in a row.
Yeah. And one of them was a game where they lit you up through no fault of your own. Maybe one of them you should have had, but it wasn't a bad game by Binnington. A lot of people will tell you otherwise. Oh, that 6 goals is a bad game. No, it was not a bad game by him. Not his best game, but it's not pull worthy. So Blues trail 2-0 going to the third in game 5. 1:28 into the third, stuff changed. O'Reilly scores in the power play. The Blues are on the power play. So 2-1 Blues. Nice play. O'Reilly got it started. And then I think I was listening to Winnipeg Sports Talk Radio, and I didn't notice this, that after that goal, after O'Reilly's goal, the Blues did not have another scoring chance until Schenn scored with 6:08 left. Did you guys know that? Hear that?
Mm-mm.
That's
I
what
did
they
not.
said. That's what they said. And I didn't look up to verify it. I assume it's right. I mean, whatever. But they said that was. I mean, the Blues had pressure in that third period, and they played well for the most part. But apparently, they didn't get an official scoring chance until 6:08 when Schenn scored.
It actually doesn't surprise me. I thought even though Winnipeg was hemmed in their zone a lot, I thought they still played some pretty solid D. I mean, we've talked last week and shit even when we were previewing the series about how good Winnipeg is about keeping the puck out of the middle, and I think they still did that. But yeah, I mean, the Blues just had so much pressure, and you just kind of got the feeling after that O'Reilly goal, like, okay, they're at least gonna make this a game because they're gonna keep bringing it to them. But yeah, now that I think about it, I can't think of another great chance between those two goals.
Well, I mean, and it was only 2-0. I mean, the joke was always made. It was the worst lead in hockey. But you know, you make it 2-1 playoffs. That's nothing. I mean, 2-1 in the playoffs. You find another gear in the playoffs all the time. It's just you see leads disappear like crazy. But so 2-1, I'm feeling good. I mean, you're within one goal. Don't give up a third one, please God. You know, because you just got back 2-1. But then Schenn scores with 6:08 left in the game to tie it up. Sundqvist crashed the net with the puck. This was interesting because he was hauled down and the puck slides over to Schenn back door, and Schenn backhands it by Hellebuck as Sundqvist is sliding into the net after being knocked down and knocks it off his moorings. So it's funny because I knew the rule here, and I was like, well, this goal is going to count, assuming a few things happen. Was the puck going to go in anyway? You know, and did the defense cause the goal to be dislodged? So yes. And the puck was going to go in anyway. Yes. And was the player in active shooting when the goal was knocked off? Yes. So I thought, I'm like, I don't see how this goal can not count. And they didn't call it a goal on the ice. They called it no goal. But they reviewed it and they said yes, it was a goal. So I was pretty confident that they were going to rule it a goal because I didn't understand how they wouldn't have. But
which feed were you guys watching?
I was watching Fox Sports.
Yeah,
what about you, Bill?
I was too.
Okay, so I was watching the NHL, whatever that one was. I guess it was TSN broadcast on NBC Sports, and Ray Ferraro made a really good point on this. Even though it's obvious, watching that play, it's easy to tell that the puck would have gone in, because it was basically the center of the net. But Ray Ferraro made a good point that a good barometer, and it worked out well for the Blues, is if I can't think of what they're called, the spikes that keep the net in place.
The moorings.
Moorings, thank you.
Which
the
are
moorings
plastic pieces now. They're not really moorings anymore.
They're marsh pegs.
Yeah, peg. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Is peg actually. But peg. So the pegs actually remained in spot. If you notice, if you watch that replay, the pegs stay in. The puck the net got lifted, so it was able to keep the pegs in spot. So Ray Ferraro said it's an easy barometer because you see where the peg is on the other side of the net. And it's obviously going way in front of that.
Yeah.
So that's a good indication that that's going to be a goal.
I think it was by about 6 or 8 inches. It was inside the post, easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, easy. Yeah. But I mean, that's just for replay purposes. If, the head coach comes out and says, what the hell, NHL, they can point to that and say, hey, look where the peg is. And yeah, I mean, I thought the same thing when it first went in at full speed. I agreed with the officials. I'm like, oh, God damn it, that sucks. But then the minute that I started watching the replays, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a goal. That's a goal. So
yeah.
It's good that we have video replay in instances like that.
Well, when it first went in, I thought, oh, the goal came off. And wait a minute, no, the goal came off. But I've seen goals go in, goals count after the goal came off. And like I said, the 3 stipulations that had to be in place for a goal to count if the goal comes off. And I'm like, well, let's see the replay, see if they're met. And they were. So
yeah, there was a time when the net
right.
being off its off the moorings was an automatic disqualifier.
There was a time when if the net would just be bumped
move up
here an inch, it wouldn't count.
Yeah, right. But that hasn't been the case in a while. I forget what year the GMs changed the rule, but it seems to be a common misconception. How far ahead in this game are you?
I'm at 5:20 remaining right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Woo.
I'm about 20 seconds behind you.
I'm about 30 seconds behind you.
I looked up earlier and I saw that Nashville had the 2-1-0 breakaway. Oh my God, this game has gotten fantastic.
Oh wow, I just saw that play that you oohed about.
Yeah, Nashville and Dallas. It's 1-1, 5 minutes to go in the third. Oh my God. Dallas obviously.
I just saw it play now.
Dallas,
you get all three of our reactions in a very genuine way.
Dallas up 3-2, and Nashville both teams have they've almost scored the second goal about 10 times.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Rodney in the YouTube chat is he's saying amen, Jeff. So I said something he agreed with. I'm not sure which one. But Tice Huck also says, got that beer ready for you guys.
That's yes. So we'll have to.
That's awesome.
We got it. Yeah, he stuff that he brews. So he's gonna give us something to try on the air.
Awesome.
Look forward to that.
We can let's see if we can get that together for next episode, for middle of the second round episode.
All right. So real quick on the goal that was allowed after video replay. I thought Hellebuck made a very kind of an interesting argument from a goaltending perspective in it, but I think it was sour grapes ultimately. With the net coming off the moorings, he had nothing to push off against to get across. It's a valid point, but that's not the rule.
It's not the rule.
And I think he also was relying on that old misconception that if it's off at all, it's, it can't be a goal.
Wait a second though, because the goal gets pushed off from his right to his left. His back is to the goal, right? So if he's pushing off right skate to left, right? Like he's pushing off the right post. Now so really he has a post to push off of.
Yeah, but it didn't just get pushed right to left. It got pushed behind. And so that he doesn't have any leverage coming off the post.
Paul
Behind
Maurice,
and up.
Paul Maurice said after the game, he was asked about it, and he was like, well, usually he's pretty level-headed in the post game with his comments, but I think he was a little off base here. He bet, well, the goal was 6 inches off the the post, off the pegs. How much more evidence do you need? I'm like, that's not the rule, dude. But so the game-winning goal, Schwartz out of mid-air, and I have a breakdown for this goal. Is this sequence? Is just a lot of stuff happened, obviously. So the puck is behind the Jets' net. 26 seconds to play. Schwartz scores with 15 seconds to go. So the puck is behind the net with the Jets. 26 seconds to play. Trouba gets to the puck behind the net, but he decides not to wrap around the boards or off the glass or anything. He just tries.
Yeah, what the hell was that?
That was dumb. I thought at the time, I'm like, oh, you're gonna try and kill this? Good, keep it in the zone. So he tries to kill the clock. Like players see, they put their stick over the puck and they'll put their legs in the wind, try and just hold the puck against the boards. So Schwartz and Steen come in and battle for it with 22 and a half seconds remaining. It gets poked free to the corner with 19 and a half seconds left. Trouba, for some reason, as he's behind the net still, looks into the crowd. Do you guys see this? He looks into the crowd and is staring at something for a good 2 seconds. And then Steen, and he's still behind the net. And Steen then battles Scheifele in the corner, and the puck squirts up the boards with 18 seconds left. Bozak zips in front of Kyle Connor to intercept the loose puck on the boards with 17 seconds left. Trouba is still behind the red line at this point and moving rather casually towards the front of the net, where Schwartz was moving towards and in position. With 16.7 seconds remaining, Bozak turns and fires the puck about a foot off the ice to the low slot where Schwartz had moved to, and Trouba had just gotten there and likely not ready for the play. As Schwartz redirects the pass out of midair before Trouba could tie up his stick, Trouba kind of lunges out with his skate and his leg to try and deflect it a little bit and just misses it because he wasn't quite in position, maybe. Schwartz redirects the pass out of midair and under Hellebuyck's blocker arm and in the back of the net with 15 seconds to go. Bedlam ensues. The crowd goes silent. John Kelly is as excited as I've ever heard him. And if Trouba doesn't stare into the crowd for a couple seconds, he might have had time to drift out a little farther and disrupt Schwartz so he couldn't redirect the puck on net. We'll never know. But the Blues win 3-2 on that goal. I thought that play was fascinating when I slowed it down and just looked at what was going on. That was a lot of stuff happened, a lot of mistakes by Trouba, I think, on that play.
The only thing that I could think of for him, because I've actually heard Wayne Gretzky has before looked into the glass to see where players are on the ice. So I'm thinking, but because you posted a still of him looking into the crowd seemingly, and it made me think, okay, he's using the glass to determine where players are on the ice without having to turn around and keep his eyes off the puck.
Right.
But he didn't react. It's not like he looked up, looked in the glass, and then moved towards Schwartz. He just stood there. What are you doing, man?
I guess that's possible, but the puck wasn't at his feet, or he didn't have the puck. You know what I mean? So when the puck squirts to the corner, that's when he looks up in the glass. The puck's in the corner. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe he was looking in the glass to see where players were, because I've heard of that. I remember Gretzky saying that too. But it was just kind of odd that whole sequence of play and how it happened. I'm not sure if looking in the glass was necessary there, because he really could have just turned around and looked, because the puck wasn't at his feet. I mean, he wasn't. So I don't know.
It was a very strange play, but hey, I'll fucking take it.
Oh God, I went ballistic on that goal. Oh, my kids were just laughing. They were just couldn't get enough of my. I jumped up and I ran down the hall in my basement. I ran away from the TV yelling for about 30 feet. I just ran down the hall.
Yeah, I totally flipped my dogs out. They had no idea if I was going to kill them or if I was happy. And it was I was accused of waking the neighborhood up by my girlfriend, and it was bedlam, absolute bedlam.
And I feel like this is where I'm going to comment on my comments from last week. You guys, I know you kind of echoed what I said, but let's just have this open for one little discussion here, and then we can move on from it, because obviously Schwartz comes up a lot more in this series. I got a lot of shit on Twitter and Facebook and texts from friends. And honestly, I deserve it, and I'm fine with it. Like I said on Twitter, call me stupid, call me dumb for saying they should have benched Schwartz for Game 5, because, hey, I'm happy to be wrong. I was happy that he made me look foolish by saying that. But I will say, and I said this to you guys already, I do still stand by my comments. And the reason I do, and I'm not trying to sound like Mike Milbury or any of those guys, but he was playing like shit. Not just this series, but we talked about it at the end of the season, that we thought maybe he was playing injured, and we're like, he just doesn't look like Jaden Schwartz. He didn't look like Jaden Schwartz going into the series, during the series. Up until that goal, I was still cursing his name in Game 5. Just, there was multiple times where he carried the puck in and he'd lose it, or he would just put a dumb shot behind the net and miss the net by 2 feet. And it's just, oh my God, why does this guy keep playing? So I will stand by my comments. Now, like I said, I am happy the coaching staff didn't listen to me, that they didn't listen to the show and say, yeah, that Ponder guy's right. We should probably bench this guy. I'm happy that didn't happen, because I wanted him to turn it around. That would be the reason to bench him, because you bench him a Game 6, he comes out, plays great. Okay, yeah, great. That's what happened to David Perron middle of the year. But again, call me stupid, call me dumb for my comments. I will stand by them. but I am very glad that I was wrong.
I know. I remember when you said that you wanted to bench him. I was more inclined to shaking up the lines and moving him down. I wasn't necessarily wanting him to be benched, but kudos to Berube for sticking with him and basically just running him out there.
Obviously, he saw something we didn't.
Well, I mean, I guess because I commented that Jim Thomas said that, I think Berube is going to go with the guys that got him there. I'm like, Schwartz didn't get you here.
Yeah.
But he played a huge role in getting them to the second round.
Yeah. I mean, one of the biggest roles. It was only 2 games, but that's 2 massive games. That's games they needed. So, listen, I'll say too, the reason I was for the benching was I thought the rest of the lines were playing so well. Why break them up? Why switch? Not they were playing so well, but the fact that there was really no other problem players once Sanford came out of the lineup. And I didn't want to see a problem player who's just not playing well thrown with guys who are trying to do the right thing. Not that Schwartz isn't, but just that he didn't look good. So I was wanting to just, give him a game off, see what happens. Put him out there for game 6. Maybe the Blues win. Put him out there for game 6. Maybe he has a big game. So I couldn't be happier that I made the wrong call.
Doug in the YouTube chat was something I was just going to talk about. That swapping Perron and Schenn was the difference maker for obviously because moving Schenn to the second line, and because Schenn wasn't doing a whole lot in the series either. So move Schenn down, move Perron up because Perron had success with O'Reilly and Tarasenko before he suffered his concussion when he had his 14 point scoring streak during the season. So.
Right. And the last time that Jaden Schwartz was effective was when he was on a line with Brayden Schenn.
Right.
And there's so much to that. I think I had made the comment, I don't know if it was on Twitter or if it was just to you guys, about Schwartz, that he wasn't playing North hockey. He was playing South hockey, East-West. He was playing the opposite of Berube's intended style. So I think we were all fed up with him, and he didn't seem to be making the right decisions. But then fast forward to that decision to play Schenn as a center, put him back in the middle. It unlocks him. It allows him to get speed through the neutral zone and start causing havoc. Sundqvist moves over and played pretty well, I thought, outside of center, and it worked. And
well, Schenn, it's been rumored that Schenn prefers playing center and was not as happy about the move to wing as I guess people would hope he'd be. He wants to play center.
Right. And you saw the interview with him after the game where they said Otter tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Hey, you want to go back up the middle?" And he said he just smiled, and that was it. He was back there. And just, that it's such an important tactical in-game adjustment, which I don't think the Jets answered that in game 6.
And it gives you a different look. You can move your left wing to the second line, and then your first line or your second line wing up to the first line, and shuffle positions like that. But when you're switching a wing to a center, it sounds dumb because it's 3 forwards on the ice. It really does change the dynamic of the line, because you see Sundqvist kind of move to the wing there on that line. And Schenn looks comfortable. I liked him as a center. And when they moved him to wing originally with O'Reilly and Tarasenko, I was, okay, yeah, that line looks good. 2 setup guys for Tarasenko, 2 guys that'll fire the puck for Tarasenko so he can do what he needs to do. But it just, I was a little upset about it too, because I'm like, man, I like Schenn at center. I think he's a great center, and taking away that center depth, could be problematic. And obviously during the season, it really didn't affect him that much, but putting him back at center to play on that second line, and then again, to not only give them a different look on that second line. But putting him back with a guy who had a lot of success with him in Jaden Schwartz, that obviously made a huge difference here for the Blues.
So the Blues bring him back home to Game 6. Excuse me. And the road team had won every game up until Game 6. So the Blues strike first and do what Winnipeg did in Game 5, scoring, what was it, 30 seconds into the game? 23. And Schwartz again. So and I think after the Schwartz's game winner in Game 5, I think I tweeted out, we'll see if hopefully that the biggest goal of Schwartz's career, because he was interviewed, is this the biggest goal of your career? And he goes, I'd have to say so, yes.
For sure.
So we'll see if the biggest goal of his career, essentially a sudden death winning goal, sparks him and helps his play. So, and then he scores 23 seconds into Game 6, courtesy of Schenn. Schenn driving the net on his backhand. And this is an interesting goal too, because slowing this down and watching it on video, it's interesting because his shot ends up hitting Hellebuck's skate. So Hellebuck's against the post, and his skate blade's against the post, and Schenn's backhand literally goes right at the skate blade and hits the side of the skate blade, and then and catapults it up in the air. So it hit between the bottom of his pad and the post, which the space there is the height of the skate blade, and basically the size of a puck. That's the only space you have. And it went through there, hit a skate blade, goes up in the air, hits the bottom of the crossbar, and it comes down and lands behind Hellebuck. And then Schwartz is behind Hellebuck and taps it in for the goal to give the Blues a 1-0 lead. Hellebuck called this goal a lucky goal in the post game, and Hellebuck comes off looking like an ass, a whiny bitch. Back 5 and 6. His post game comments, and like he's lying about what happened a number of times. First of all, but we'll get into it later. But called this goal a lucky goal. I'm like, dude, the puck got between you and the post. I mean, what do you want to do? Hug the post better.
Yeah, Douglas Johannes in the YouTube chat made the point. Hellebuck post-game interviews from games 5 and 6 made him lose all respect for him. I agree completely. Like you said, he came off as a whiny little bitch.
He did, and he whining and lying. Not just whining, but he totally lied about a goal we're talking about later. So,
post-truth America.
Yeah, right. No, I something that, because we're going to get to talking about a couple more goals here for the Blues. The thing that shocked me about this, and Curt, you and I kind of talked a little bit about this on Twitter. So the Paul Maurice opts to use his challenge here.
Yeah.
So 23 seconds in, you got I guess an iffy play. I think that even... I mean, if it was just clear as day, Jaden Schwartz plows into Hellebuck and then puts the puck in an empty net, okay, yeah, go ahead and challenge that. But unless it is something outside of that, I do not use my challenge in the first 23 seconds on a goal. I mean, that was not... I mean, maybe third period, that's a goal that breaks a 1-1 tie or something. Okay, go ahead and give it a shot. That early, you basically have 60 minutes left of hockey. You are going to go ahead and get rid of not only your only challenge if you lose, but you are also losing your timeout, which can come in huge importance late in the game. So I did not like that choice by him, and I don't know who his video coach is, but that is a bad call. And I said this on Twitter, that if I'm Kevin Cheveldayoff, the GM, that is a long discussion I'm having with my head coach after that game.
Yeah, because it really did cost them. They weren't able to challenge later in the game when they might have actually gotten the call.
Yeah,
I when they were challenging this, I tweeted out, I was like, I can't believe they're throwing their timeout away. Is what they're doing.
Yeah,
and their ability to challenge again later in the game. So you're telling me that in an elimination game, you're going to throw away a timeout and a challenge, a future challenge, on a play that has zero chance of being overturned. There was no chance this was going to get overturned. It was just not a chance.
I mean, I know that they have to decide this fairly quickly before the puck drops, but you're telling me that you saw something in a replay that says, "Yeah, we need to challenge this." Where did you see it?
Not a chance. Some folks said he might be challenging just to kill the Blues momentum. It's 23 seconds into the game.
Yeah.
If you're challenging to get a timeout here or to stop the Blues momentum, 23 seconds into a game, you've lost the game already. You've lost. You've got almost 23 seconds shy of a full game left, and you're afraid you're gonna. I don't think that was the case. That couldn't have been the case because that's stupid.
No, I agree. Yeah, I saw that too. Oh, you got to change up momentum here. You're 23 seconds into the game. If you're already worried about the momentum of the game, you're done. The game's over.
Hasn't even been a full shift. But Schwartz scores again with about 6 minutes to go in the first period. After a flurry by the Blues, Bozak passes across the slot from behind the net to Schwartz, who fires a wrist shot by a down Hellebuck. This goal, we could talk about this goal for an hour because this was on the play. Everybody has seen it. Hellebuck reaches out. This is my interpretation, and if you guys want to disagree with how I'm seeing this, let me know. So Hellebuck reaches out, initiates contact with Maroon. Maroon standing outside the crease. Maroon is not in the crease. Hellebuck reaches out with his blocker, makes contact with Maroon's stick, and Hellebuck's blocker, the cuff of his blocker, gets hung up on the shaft of Maroon's stick in between Maroon's hands because Maroon's hands are on his stick. He's holding on to the stick. It's on there for a couple seconds, maybe, and he's pulling. He can't get it free, and then he kind of lunges forward, kind of falls down, gets it free, and ends up losing his stick when Schwartz shoots and can't recover in time to stop Schwartz's shot. So, and I can't tell you how many times I saw people saying that Maroon was holding Hellebuck's blocker. And even in the Sportsnet guys on the broadcast, on the replay I watched, they were saying he held he was holding Hellebuck's blocker. TSN radio out of Winnipeg just today. They've had days to look over the video, and they said that he was holding Hellebuck's blocker. And everybody, all these callers, are saying, "Oh yeah, if we'd had that challenge that we wasted on that first goal, we could have challenged and overturned this goal." And I've heard people say, "Oh yeah, any logical person would say this goal was overturned because Maroon's holding Hellebuck's trapper, his blocker." If Maroon was holding his blocker, then yeah, it gets overturned. But he's not holding his blocker. The only thing Maroon's holding is his own stick. He's got both hands on his own stick.
I agree with you, but I think, first of all, think of this. There's a better chance that goal's getting overturned than the first one, right?
Oh yeah. And you know what? I would have challenged if I was Maurice. But it's not going to get overturned. But I would have used the challenge because that's 2-0 goal first period, and there was contact, sustained contact. And maybe you get an official that sees it differently, but honestly, I don't see how, because the video is pretty clear cut that Maroon's hands are on his stick.
I go back to that Boston game all the time
that was last year though.
Yeah, but I go back to that was a clearly goalie interference, and they still called it.
Yeah, but they call it differently now. You know they do. I
know they do. But we still do see controversial calls. So I agree with you.
I know. And I think Maurice should have challenged if he had a challenge left. I would have challenged if I was him. You have to in that case, I think.
And I think that you're right. I think that is still a goal, no matter what. But there's always that sneaking maybe they pull that one back.
Right.
And for Winnipeg, if you had a challenge, you can say, okay, here we go. Let's see what they say. And then at least you've got the presence of mind to say, okay, well, we tried. They disagreed. So good. They don't even have that chance.
Right.
So of course, that's the question in Winnipeg right now. If we have a challenge, maybe that goal comes off the board. Maybe Winnipeg has a chance to come back and tie it 1-1, and it's a completely different game.
Yeah. And my issue was the people after the fact, after they could have reviewed the video, were saying that Maroon was holding his blocker and the play would have been overturned had they had a challenge. And I'm like, I don't see how you see that at all. That makes no sense to me.
I mean, if they're saying he held the blocker, it was the trapper. It was the other glove. And they're from the overhead view, it kind of looks like Maroon's glove, where it's positioned on his stick, is parallel up against the trapper.
Oh, it was a trapper. That was a trapper.
Yeah.
I was saying blocker. It was a trapper.
Yeah. Yeah, no, because it's odd because it looks like Hellebuck's the one that reached out.
Yeah,
and there was no reason for him to do it. I think the outrage here isn't about the officials; it's about Maurice blowing it on the call 23 seconds into the game. Yep. I mean that's and to Jeff's point, he's going to have a long, hard conversation. I don't know if it's with Maurice or with his other advisors. Do we finally can this guy? He got us to the conference final last year, but man, he didn't do a whole lot to get us through the Blues this year.
And it's I was gonna say that it wasn't just they didn't finish strong and just tank in the playoffs. They had a terrible. After when the Blues took off after January 4th, they fell. I mean, they were not the team they were before at all.
They should have played Dallas. And now, listen, I know maybe by the time this posts in the podcast, Dallas has moved on to the second round. We'll see. Right now, it's in OT between Nashville and Dallas. But I think Winnipeg has a pretty good chance against Dallas. I think they can play better against them than they do the Predators or the Blues.
I think they beat Nashville or Dallas.
Yeah, I think definitely Dallas for sure. Nashville, I don't know, but definitely Dallas. And I'll say too, and we didn't mention this earlier. Both Douglas Johannes and Jesse Hill in our YouTube chat. Maurice said he did it to back his goalie because the goalie said it was interference. Yes, he has to trust his goalie. I get that, but at the same time, 23 seconds into the game, and you've got a video coach who can say, like, I wouldn't think that if a goalie's goalie interference, right away the coach is throwing the red flag. Okay, our goalie says no, he's going to go to the video guy and say, what do you think? He's saying goalie interference. Please tell me we have something to challenge here, because you can't just go off what the goalie's saying in the moment.
Right. Oh. And here's the point about Hellebuck in that moment. If he's so fragile that his coach has to make a risky play to back him, I mean, that doesn't say a whole lot about the confidence that they must have in his mental ability.
I don't think Hellebuck knows the rules. Because if he's saying that's an interference, that was not interference. The first play was not even close to being interference. Not even close.
Well,
you can a goalie can be touched. A guy can touch you. It's not like it used to be for a while, where if you just brushed a goalie, I mean, it was interference. It's just not the same. And he should know that. And his post game comments too, where he whining and saying that he couldn't move for 10 seconds because Maroon had a hold of his trapper. I'm like, 10 seconds? Are you serious? It was like 2 seconds tops. He's just lying. So
you just can't. Heat of the moment, goalies, any player is going to say. I mean, I remember specifically when I was still playing competitively in high school, where I got hit. I came to the bench and I'm like, that MFer just he clipped me high, and one of my teammates is like, No, man, it definitely wasn't. Like, you just kind of ducked your head down. You kind of ran into a stick. No, that MFer, he clipped me. No, man, you ran into a stick. And luckily, we had somebody recording the game. I went back and I was like, oh, I'm going to show him. Went back and watched the tape. Yeah, okay, that was more my fault. So it's just, you can't just go off a player's emotion. I mean, you have to have some common sense and say, okay, Hellebuck is telling me right now that this is goalie interference. What do you guys say? You can't just go off a goalie. So I don't buy that as that's the only excuse. Somebody else had to tell Maurice to challenge it.
I would never go by strictly what a player says. Unless it's late in the game and you almost have to anyway. I like, how many times you see in baseball games, there's a close play about tagging a player on a base and the fielder says, ooh, waves to the dugout, challenge, and they get it wrong. It happens all the time. You can't, you trust your guy, trust your video guy, and the players in the heat of the moment, they're not going to know exactly necessarily what happened.
They can give you
a player touched Hellebuck. I mean, what Jesse Hill said in the YouTube chat, it was Bufflin that interfered with him, that hit him. I don't think the Blues player even touched him.
Yeah, and that's something else about it is, goalie might not see who hit him, and if he feels touched and he doesn't see who it is and the puck goes in the net, first thing he's going to do is claim interference. And can you blame him? I couldn't move my blocker, I couldn't move my leg pad. Maybe you don't know who it is that's next to you, and that's just the first thing you're thinking. And it's just, you have to have somebody else to make that call for you. Maybe you put the goalie or the defenseman puts the idea in your head, hey, we should challenge this, but you have to go to somebody else to make that call. And let's face it too, if it was Maurice who was just, oh, Connor's calling for it, I need to just do it. If it's a Connor Hellebuck, I have to make this call or I'm going to catch shit from him later, maybe he doesn't need to be your goalie. If that has anything to do with it, I would think a goalie would understand, hey man, we were 23 seconds into the game. We can't waste a challenge there.
This overtime game is pretty damn good.
Yeah, it is.
Rene just stoned, I think it was Sagan. Oh my God. Jeez. About 4 minutes into the third period, Schwartz capped off his natural hat trick, which, for those of you not aware, natural hat trick is 3 goals in a row scored by the same player, with no other goals scored by either team in between. So actually has 4 goals straight because he scored the game winner in Game 5.
Right. He had 2 goals in 38 seconds.
Right.
Think about it.
O'Reilly sent a fantastic backhand pass off the boards as it was being checked up to center to spring Schwartz and Shen on a 2-on-1. Scheifele did get back to cover Shen on the 2-on-1, but Bufflin had slid down a little too early, and Schwartz cut to the middle, hopping past the outstretched Bufflin, and waited a stride or two, froze Hellebuck, and beat him blocker side for a 3-0 lead. And I'll be honest with you, when this goal was scored, I'm like, this game's done. This game's over.
Yep.
I mean, the way the Blues are playing, the Blues had only allowed 6 shots through 2 periods. 6 shots against a team that's where their offense is supposed to be the strongest part of their game. And they only had 6 shots through 2 periods in an elimination game for them. How is that even acceptable for anybody in Winnipeg? My God.
Yeah. Total domination through 2 periods. 2.5 periods, really.
We talk about last show. If you go back and listen, we say we have not seen the Blues' best game yet. We have not seen them play their game. They were playing their game this game. This was the best they looked, and it was the perfect time. And for Jaden Schwartz, 2-3 years ago, Jaden Schwartz would go out with an injury, and the Blues would not look like the same team. And that has not been the case this year. When Jaden Schwartz plays the way he did, that third goal was the one that impressed me the most. That's the Jaden Schwartz we used to see. Yep. That's the kind of stuff I want to see from him. And if he's skating the way he's skating there, if he's getting a shot on net the way he put the shot on net, he's going to be an effective player for the Blues. And if he has finally figured it out this season, look out for the St. Louis Blues.
The St. Louis crowd started to chant, "You look nervous," which was in response to the Winnipeg crowd chanting "You look nervous" in Game 5 to Binnington, which was kind of silly because, well, it wasn't silly because they were up 2-0 at the time.
I loved the banter between the two fan bases. And this was great.
Those are clever chants.
Yeah,
Nashville needs to learn from this stuff.
When the Blues play Chicago or Nashville, I get more annoyed. I was loving every second of the Winnipeg fans and the St. Louis fans coming back at them. Just great stuff. I loved it.
As passionate as Nashville fans are, which I love the passion. It's fantastic. But you know what? You've got all this passion and you sink it into shitty chants. It's just a waste.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah. The high school sports feel of it. It's juvenile. And it is an immature fan base.
Yeah, you suck. That's clever.
It's all your fault. It's all your fault.
It's all your fault. Yeah, we're in 4th grade.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. That said, I'm hoping for a PK Subban 4th overtime goal here tonight, but just tonight.
Yeah, it was funny when going into this series, I was, talking to some people who weren't really big hockey fans, but we're going to start watching because, that's how a lot of people in St. Louis are. Well, sports, let's just say sports in general. And I told them, I'm like, hey, when they're in Winnipeg, pay attention to their crowd because they are hilarious. I remember a couple of years ago when they came back in the playoffs for the first time and played Anaheim, they were chanting Katy Perry every time Corey Perry touched the puck. I mean, they're clever. They come up with silly stuff. I mentioned on Twitter, and the guy actually found me on Twitter after I posted it. There was a sign, and I think it was Game 1, behind Craig Berube of Vladimir Tarasenko holding a stuffed bear in a pink button-up shirt with a pink background. Yeah. Clearly photoshopped, but hilarious. It's just so simple and hilarious. I mean, how can you not laugh at that? Even as a St. Louis Blues fan, I'm sure even Vladimir Tarasenko laughed about it in the locker room.
Well, that picture's been around for a while.
That's funny stuff.
Yeah.
That's funny stuff. So I love it. And, after this game wraps up, I want to talk about, I don't know if you guys read the review. If you guys read the review from the guy who came down to St. Louis for, I think it was Game 4.
Yeah.
Oh God, just Winnipeg fans. I love them. And this was, I hope we see them in the playoffs every year after this. This was a fun series for many reasons.
So the Jets made a game of it after the Blues went up 3-0. Bufflin scores with under 8 minutes left. And then with 36 seconds to go, the Jets made a nice play on a 2-on-1 down low. I'm not sure how this happened. You get a 2-goal lead, less than a minute to go. How they ended up with a break 2-on-1 down low, I have no idea. But real nice pass down low. Perot scores to cut the lead to 3-2. Pass backdoor, but so Jets and after that, the Jets had a couple more shots and one pretty good one, a sneaky good low shot from Laine. But Binnington held the fort and they eliminated the Jets in 6 games. So
what about Bufflin's backhander?
Oh, that was
the crossbar. Yeah, that was. I think it was still 3-1 at that point. But
that was before they scored, wasn't it? I thought it was before they scored.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
but easily. They seemed to turn it on a little bit too late, but I still felt like I was still confident that we could hang on, and we did.
Yeah, I was confident because we talked about the Blues play. Honestly, even games 1 through 5, even the games they won, that it was just boy, are they going to be able to hold on to this? Are they going to be able to Game 6? This was the Blues team we've seen from January to April, and I was confident all the way through. I mean, they put that first goal in, and then they kept pouring it on, like Curt said, 6 shots through 2 periods. I mean, that's to hold Winnipeg to that is insane. And plus, on top of that, Jordan Binnington has just played well the whole series, in my opinion, except for maybe Game 3. just shutting the door on them. And the Blues are just controlling the puck. I mean, we talked about how they didn't have a defenseman score. Well, the way that they controlled the puck in Game 6, I wouldn't have been surprised if the Blues defense would have put up 1 or 2 goals there, because they didn't have any chances the first 5 games, but they all look good that 6th game, and hopefully this is signs of more to come here in the second round.
This is only the second time in franchise history the Blues have won a Game 6 at home, which I found curiously interesting. I think somebody said, well, we've never won a cup, so yeah. I'm like, no, you understand. We've been in the playoffs all but 9 years of our existence. So we've had a lot of playoff games and never won a Game 6. This is the second time we've won a Game 6 at home in franchise history. It's crazy. The Jets only had 6 shots through 2 periods. We finished by shooting them 36-20. So they had a 14-shot barrage in the third period, obviously, because their season was on the line. The Blues soundly outplayed the Jets in Game 6. They out-hit the Jets. They put in a power play goal. They won the faceoff battle and easily played their best game of the series by far.
Something that I can't stand when I see people post is, if you look at games, I think it was games games 1 and 2 that the Jets out hit the Blues, and people were upset. Oh, come on, you can't let them. No, they're out hitting the Blues because the Blues had the puck possession. Yeah. So I'm okay with the Blues getting out hit every single game because that probably means they had the puck more. But the fact that they had the possession in Game 6 and still out hit the Jets, that's impressive. That's Craig Berube hockey. That's what we've become accustomed to. And, just glorious game for the Blues, one for the ages. That's one that I hope we look back at in a couple months and say, that is where they turned it on, and that's where they turned it around.
Remember last week, one of the social media fails was the guy who said when it was 2-2, they lost the 2 at home. He goes, I'm done with this team. And I'm basically not watching another game. We're done. This series sucks. And I'm sure he watched games 5 and 6. Sure,
probably.
Douchebag. I'm serious. It was a stupid thing to say. It was dumb. Binnington was the story of the first 5 games or so. Jets had the better of the play. Really, honestly, the Jets really played out. I mean, they didn't play great hockey. They had a really good game. Was it Game 3? But for the most part, the Jets outplayed the Blues. I'd say the Blues maybe won 3 or 4 periods in the first 4 games tops. Power play came up big in the second half of the series for the Blues. Schwartz was the hero Game 5 and 6, and the Blues saved their best for last. And they're now the Cup favorites, according to MoneyPuck.com. Our favorite site, MoneyPuck.com, who apparently likes the Blues quite a bit. They are a 13.8% chance to win the Cup, which is 13.3 over San Jose. Interestingly.
Well, the good news the thing that's really impressive here is that they are 100% locked to make the second round.
I saw that.
Prognostication at its finest.
That's right. Man, I gotta say, I know that we have a Jordan Binnington love fest on this show, and maybe people get sick of hearing about it because that is kind of the central story for this show and many other shows that cover the Blues. But it really can't be overstated how impressive what this kid's doing. I mean, it's unbelievable how he's just been able. The kid has played. Yeah. I mean, we went into this year saying, if Chad Johnson, remember him, or Jake Allen get hurt, you got to call up possibly Jordan Binnington, who has never looked good in any appearance in the NHL. And then he comes up after Chad Johnson gets waived, and you say, oh boy, he doesn't look good because he came in relief, just didn't look good, didn't look set. Gets a start, just end of the story there. I mean, the kid just went on a run, and to win a playoff series at 25, a rookie in the NHL, playing with let's face it, you just mentioned it, Curt. Stanley Cup aspirations. I mean, this team isn't just some Cinderella story of, oh, well, they somehow got past Winnipeg. We'll see what they do in the second round, probably a sweep. It's not that at all. It's this team can win a Stanley Cup, and they've got a rookie goalie back there. That is something that cannot be stated enough.
Yeah, even the the Winnipeg TSN guys said that the Blues, as they were signing off today to go to, they were covering something else, some sporting event, but they said that the Blues are now the favorites to win the Cup, according to their analysis. So that's not just, I mean, it's really, it's really Binnington. You get stable goaltending that you can have confidence in. That's not going to waver. That if they do give a bad goal, then they're not going to crumble. That's huge. And I think anybody that doesn't give Binnington credit for what he's done for this team wants to downplay his efforts in any of the games in this series, or rake him over the coals for the six goals he gave up in the one game. Just get out of here. Get the fuck out. You don't know what you're talking about. Sour grapes over something. I don't know. Not seeing something the way you should. But he deserves all the credit in the world for where this team is, because without him, we're not even in the playoffs.
Right.
And to be honest, and not even close. And without him, we may have lost in this first round, because Winnipeg had the better of the play through 4 games, and they could have been up 3-1 easy. But I mean, he was good. He was really, really fucking good.
It's easy to shit on Jake Allen and say there's no way Jake Allen gets them to the second round, but you could make that case about many goalies. I mean, it's not anything against Jake Allen. It's Jordan Binnington has played this well, and he's played like an elite NHL goalie.
Right. It's, I said, I made comments early on after Binnington came in that, a lot of it had to do with just getting competent goaltending. And, I was hesitant to say, that he was playing at a very high level and at an elite level, just because it was such a small sample size. But, coming into the playoffs and seeing him put up the same kind of confident performances, he looks like an elite goalie. He's not just a competent goalie, which is kind of the argument that I made to a lot of people going down the stretch as to why are the Blues playing better, because they have a competent goalie. No, they have an elite goalie, and that's why they are so favorite right now.
Yeah, a couple comments from people. Oh, I was just going to comment on the YouTube chat. Go ahead.
I was saying in the playoffs, when scoring is at a premium, and it's goals are tougher to come by. You need goaltending to win you games often in the playoffs. You may only score a couple goals in a game, and you may have to win a game 2-1, and Binnington can do that for you.
So Rodney Metz, a couple comments from him. Don't think we've had comments from him before, so welcome to the show, Rodney, if you've never commented before. Binnington has given a fan base hope. Hell yes. I mean, that's something this fan base needs, and that's awesome. He said we would have been watching the draft lottery if it wasn't for Binnington. Very true. I think we would have been more focused on that than the playoffs. Bob Rakowski adds, doesn't feel like they're getting into every game 1 goal down with Binnington. Kind of always felt that way with Allen. Again, I'm not wanting this to be a shit on Allen show, but it kind of always comes that way, though, doesn't it? Yeah. It's just Jake Allen. We've said it on the show, he's not a number 1 goalie, solid 1B, maybe 2A kind of goalie. But Jordan Binnington is showing us that maybe he really is a solid NHL starter.
He is until he's not, and right. I think that's he is what he is, and he's, like Bill said, he's playing at an elite level, so he's an elite goalie until he's not.
Right. He's Patrick Lalime, when he first came up with the Penguins in the late 90s, he's Andrew Hammond. But Hammond didn't get the Senators all the way through the playoffs. So right now, I'd say he's definitely in a better position than both of those guys.
Well, let's face it. I mean, Matt Murray is a guy who went out and won 2 Stanley Cups, and I'm definitely not comparing those two right now. But Matt Murray has looked fairly pedestrian the last couple seasons.
Yeah.
And they put all their eggs in the Matt Murray basket.
Right. Gave up on Fleury, let him go to Vegas in the expansion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
A lot of Pittsburgh fans are not happy about that.
Yeah.
So who do you guys want to see in the second round? This game is still going on, Dallas and Nashville, as we do the show. Oh man. And overtime, 4.5 to go. I'm at 4.5 to go right now streaming. But so who do you guys want? We've talked about this before. Has anything changed on who you want to see in the second round?
So the way Nashville doesn't seem to be on top of their game, I think I'd prefer them. And I think it has to do with the fact that Dallas is the only team to hang 4 on Binnington twice this season.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that. Nashville, we went into the playoffs saying if we could get Nashville, that's who we want. And that's the way it looked for about 2 months, and that's who they were going to play. So I still say Nashville for the same reason. I think that they match up well with them, and for whatever reason they don't with Dallas. And honestly, I've watched a lot of this Dallas-Nashville series. Dallas is for real. We know they've got the firepower in Ben and Sagan, and that was kind of my thought going into the year. Well, who do you have behind that? They got some guys, I mean, especially on the blue line, that can play some offense. And not only that, Ben Bishop's a Vezina Trophy finalist this year. He has played lights out for the Stars, and he's always played well against the Blues. So I don't want to root against Ben Bishop either, because I'm always going to root him on. But man, I think I want Nashville still. I think I want the revenge from 2 years ago. And I think the Blues do match up a little better with Nashville.
I hate both these teams. But
watch it, Curt. Watch it.
I'm watching. Okay, Dallas is Dallas going to score here? Post.
Yeah. I am now 15 seconds the other side of you.
Oh, that's weird.
Great. So now I'm 30 to 45 seconds behind you guys.
Anyway, I hate both these teams with a passion.
So can you wait for it, Curt? Can you wait for it? Can you wait for it?
I saw it. Has Bondo seen it yet?
I don't think he has. We'll let him. No spoilers.
All right.
Oh Jesus! Keep talking. I don't want to be upset.
Whoa.
So anyway,
the Stars it is.
Yeah, I wanted Nashville, but I wanted Nashville. It was like a double-edged sword. I wanted Nashville, but we'd start on the road and not have home ice. I know home ice isn't much of an advantage in the playoffs. They always put the numbers, like 20 road teams have won and 21 home teams have won. It's not much of a home ice advantage. I don't care. I'd rather see the Blues play at home and have that game 7 at home if it goes 7. I feel better about it. It is nice to see Nashville lose, though. I'm going to be honest. To see they're just, it's all his fault. But we have home ice against Dallas, so we're playing the Stars now. We have home ice against Dallas. I am nervous about Ben, and I'm nervous about Bishop because how many times in the history of forever that we see the Blues get shut down by a hot goalie, and Ben destroys us.
Yep.
So if we can shut down Ben. Maybe
Ben. So there are several stars that seem to really take it to the Blues. Jamie Benn, of course, is the number one guy, but how many times do you hear Radek Faksa coming up with a huge game against the Blues?
Yep.
That and John Klingberg, who just scored the series clincher. I mean, these guys are going to be more than a handful, and I'll be interested to see how close to a coin toss the prognostication is on this series.
Klingberg and Heiskanen, they're both just so good on the blue line.
I want to see this series go 7 because they're gonna have a break now.
Yeah,
because there's going to be a game 7 in
at least one game 7 in the East.
Yeah, Washington,
and then one in the West.
Yep.
Yeah, actually 2 game 7s in the East.
They're gonna have a few days off. So I mean, they'll get a little bit of rest, which I was hoping to see them play game 7 because game 6 we played game 6 on Saturday. Their game 6 was tonight.
Right. They played game 5 the same day we played game 6.
Yeah, so I was really hoping this one would go 7 because they might get like 1 day off. Maybe. But no, that's not going to happen. So I hate Radulov too. Something about him just drives me. I can't stand that man.
I've always hated Radulov because of the way he treated the league the first time he came through.
He left to go to play in the KHL, right?
To go play in the KHL. Then he came back, and all of a sudden he was out partying until 5 a.m. the night before a playoff game. Just I don't like his attitude. I know he's probably grown up since then, but yeah. So I want to mention too before we I don't know if we're going to plan on previewing the series anymore, if we're wanting to get into our social media fails or what, but I just want to comment real quick on, for those that haven't seen it, I kind of mentioned this earlier, a little foreshadowing, I guess. The Winnipeg Jets fan that wrote the review of St. Louis basically came through, won tickets for game 4, said he was in town for about 36 hours. Stayed downtown. I don't have the in front of me, but he went to a lot of our great spots. He went out saw the Arch, checked out a couple of local restaurants, some of the better ones, and wrote a raving review about St. Louis, basically saying that we're a classy city. And then not just that, but I've seen many Jets fans who came down here for games, or Jets fans talking about Blues fans who came up to Winnipeg, who just said that we're great sports fans, we're welcoming. They had great experiences at Enterprise. They had great experiences talking to Blues fans. So listen, Nashville fans, maybe there's just more of an animosity there. Every Nashville fan I've talked to said that they get treated poorly in St. Louis, that St. Louis is a bunch of jerks, as Don Cherry would say. But for whatever reason, Winnipeg, St. Louis, I guess there's some kind of kinship there, maybe. I don't know. But everything I saw from Winnipeg fans and media, except for the Free Press, awesome.
Well, the comments from Nashville fans are coming from people that chant "You suck" at games. So I mean, take that with a grain of salt.
That's true. Except for Jeremy Gover, our friend Jeremy Gover.
The Winnipeg guy, the who came to St. Louis for the trip, he mentioned going on Reddit and talking to some St. Louis fans about suggestions and places to go and stuff like that. So that was, and he said, even on Reddit too, the people were fantastic and had just within minutes he had tons of suggestions, recommendations, and places to go. Stuff like that. So way more than he could possibly fit into his 36 hours when he was here. So, it's a good city. People are good for the most part. So, and sports wise too, it's a good sports city. So people get it.
I never really understood why, and this is this is just a brief comment. Why when teams like send, they have the ticket package. Oh, we'll send you down and you win. Why not just have an open-ended ticket? Say your fly back, we'll reimburse you, or here's a gift card or whatever, however you're gonna have to do it, and then say we're paying for 1 night or 2 nights at this hotel. Come back whenever you feel. Because he even said, he's like, man, I wish I could have stayed longer, and it's a real shame. Like that would have been good for that fan to experience St. Louis a little bit more, because he said he had such a great time here.
Maybe, I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe because of getting a ticket like a day before you return could be like 5 times as much money.
Maybe, yeah.
And they probably got deals through travel agents and stuff that's gonna make stuff cheaper.
Yeah.
I assume. But no, I get you. That would be kind of a
Yeah, if let's say the Blues go to the Stanley Cup final and we're playing against Boston or Toronto, man, if a Blues fan won tickets, they're going to want to go for 3-4 days as opposed to one.
I agree. So we're playing Dallas. I'm not. I was uneasy with the matchup against Winnipeg. I wanted Nashville in the first round, and I was uneasy with the matchup with Winnipeg. It worked out, and now I'm uneasy again with the matchup against Dallas. I was looking forward to playing Nashville more of a all right. Let's play some hockey. As now I'm like, oh shit! But now we got to worry about this and this. I was just
It's real.
Yeah, it's real, and it's like, oh god, I can see the Blues losing this series if they don't do this and this and this. Otherwise, when we play Nashville, I can say, okay, we match up well against Nashville, like you were saying, Jeff, and I just it just feels better against Nashville. I don't know. Maybe Bishop gets hurt. Pre-game skate before game one. Tweak a knee.
I remember back in 2001 when Peter Forsberg had appendicitis. Before his series with the Blues, and everybody was like, "Wow, no Forsberg, they're going to win now." Not exactly the case.
No. We got any other Blues vs. Stars? We're facing Dallas. Nashville has more players that are easier to hate. That's true. Well, I don't know. I mean, Ben. I've talked about Ben a lot on the show. I hate Ben.
Yeah, he's so easy to hate. Like you said, Radulov.
Yeah.
Something tells me by the end of the series, we're going to hate Matt Zuccarello.
Yeah. By the way, Blues fans, keep this in mind. He hates the nickname Norwegian Hobbit Wizard. So make sure you call it to him if you see him out.
Yes. And bring your signs.
Yes.
Well, at least Line can play Fortnite a little more often now.
Yeah, that's right.
No,
that was one of my favorite memes today.
Did you? They were talking on Winnipeg Sports Talk Radio today about how the maturity level on the team wasn't what they had hoped it was going to be. I'm thinking, is that because of the Fortnite playing by some of the big players on the team? that strikes me as a maturity level thing that they have issues with, maybe.
Yeah, this should be an interesting series. I'm looking forward to it because it's a second round series, and last time, let's face it, it was 7 games, but I feel like the Blues handled them pretty well. But I mean, that was 2016. We'll see. Jamie Benn, they gotta. That's the thing with Dallas. I think obviously they got a lot of weapons that can put you down. But if you can neutralize Jamie Benn, not just his goal scoring, but his physical play, I think that's your first step. You got to have, and again, that was the issue early in the series with Winnipeg. Their big bodies were getting to the net and causing havoc. Jamie Benn's going to do the exact same thing. Faxa is going to do the same thing. So you're going to have to neutralize that play. And Binnington's going to have to cover as many rebounds as possible. Blues are going to have to be careful on icings. I think they were pretty weak on that early in the Winnipeg series. This is just, I'm a little uneasy about it, but I still think the Blues can come out on top if they play the way they did in Game 6.
I'm glad they're going to start at home. I like that.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, granted, like I said before, the home ice advantage thing is not a big advantage, but I'm more comfortable in them being at home against the Stars.
How about that? The Blues have home ice now through the rest of the Western Conference final or the Western Conference.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Crazy to think about.
Yeah.
We have no social media fails this show, unless you got one, Jeff.
Probably something you said.
Social media awesome.
Social media winning. You know what? Doug's right. We don't. He's right. If Vegas wins, we would not have home ice.
Oh, you're right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, dog. Thanks for the correction.
Whatever.
It's late.
It's late.
We can't keep everything straight.
No. And that will I think that'll about do it for this week's show. So I guess the series will start. When's game 7 and the other series? Is it tomorrow?
So
Tuesday?
there are 2. So you got Boston, Boston, Toronto tomorrow, and then Wednesday, Carolina and Washington. So earliest would be Thursday.
Okay. Las Vegas and San Jose is tomorrow too, isn't it?
Yep.
Doug asked in the YouTube chat, why didn't you open this up? Because this show is about 2 hours old right now. And we gotta go.
It's hard to open up, honestly, in playoff time because there's a lot to talk about. So it's hard to.
If we had about an hour long show, if we could hour and 15, we would open it up. But yeah, we're about at 2 hours now, so we're gonna cut it.
So we got a big week coming up here, guys. This should be interesting. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and our next show will be, I don't know. We'll announce it. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we don't even know what the schedule is yet.
Nope.
Yep. Should be 2, maybe 3 games played at that point.
Yeah, I'd say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, one of those days next week.
Yeah. Seems like it.
That will do it for this week's show. For Jeff Ponder and Bill Day, I'm Curt Price. That will conclude this week's broadcast of Let's Go Blues Radio. Until next time, everyone, let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Bishop. Let's go Blues.
The Chiefs are at home tonight against Sport at the War Memorial at 8. Good seats are still available.
A look at sports.
I think that went very well.
Thank you for listening to Let's Go Blues Radio. Now take off, hosers.
Well, there's 90 minutes of your life you'll never get back. Sorry.
St. Louis Blues, St. Louis Blues. Have you heard the news about our St. Louis Blues? They've only just begun, they're on their way to number 1. Now there's no more blues for our St. Louis Blues. The Blues are on the ice tonight again. They're rough and tough and got the